So this is Big Box. It's a piece of software that takes your gaming computer setup and transforms it into a console-like experience for TVs or arcade cabinets. But is it any good? And is it worth the $30 price tag? All right, let's install Big Box. I'm pretty excited to see this interface. You can see on my screen here, I've got Launchbox, which is the one we installed in the last video, the free version of Launchbox I'm running here. And if you want to know how to install Launchbox, then you can jump back to that video. I'll link it up the top here and I'll link it in the description. But we talked about how we install it and how we got the games in here, as well as the ROMs, like these PlayStation 1 ROMs you can see here. But it is a cool interface and I'm pretty excited to see Big Box because apparently it takes it to the next level and it's a bit more controller friendly. So if you go to the Launchbox website, you can actually see the various different tiers, like the premium with yearly support, the premium with perpetual support. But one cool thing they do have as well is that you can actually do a trial of Big Box if you have Launchbox free setup. I believe it's a half-an-hour trial. So we can go up to menu, and under menu you'll see we've got Big Box. We click on it, it says Big Box is only available in Launchbox Premium, but we can click Start Trial here. Now that's going to close Launchbox and hopefully open Big Box. So this is only a half-an-hour trial mode, as it says here, which probably fine. Like half an hour will give us plenty of time to have a look through the interface. If you were going to just jump into a game and play for half an hour, then it's obviously going to kick you out and go back to Launchbox after half an hour. So we'll click Game On here and let's have a look at Big Box. So the difference is kind of night and day, right? Like I was raving about the Launchbox UI, and you do have to use a keyboard and mouse, and for my arcade cabinets, that is a little bit awkward. But you can see here with Big Box, this is like a proper controller, like arcade friendly interface, which is pretty cool. So you can see up the top, I've got my last played games. So I've got Alex Kidd, Mickey Mouse, Alex Kidd and Shinobi World. You can see as you scroll across them, the background artwork changes, which just looks awesome. Like you can see the old school Alex Kidd there. You can scroll down and see the games. You can see some of my games are missing metadata, like Bomb Jack here. But what Launchbox and Big Box will do is actually go out and scrape that metadata, so it'll find it and it'll load it in. I didn't have to download any of this artwork. When I set up Launchbox and it imported my games, and if you go back and watch that first video, it actually pulls in all your games from all your different launchers like Steam, Ubisoft, Activision, you know, all those different launchers. It pulls them all in automatically and starts fetching all the metadata. It also went out when I loaded my ROMs in and fetched the metadata for those. So none of this artwork I had to set up. I basically just pointed it at my games and away it went. So pretty neat looking interface as you scroll across, you know, the artwork's changing, just really cool. You can see here as well, we can go into each system. So I've got Sega, Nintendo and PlayStation ROMs loaded in here. So we could actually go into one of those. We could go, let's see all the PlayStation games, and we can kind of go into the PlayStation, I guess, emulator sort of sub menu, and we can see here you've got all your games on the left, and when you hover over one, it just updates the artwork. I mean, look how smooth that was. It's just a pretty neat piece of software. So you can see here I've also got the Windows menu, and that is all the Windows games I've got installed on here, like I was just talking about with Steam or Activision. So if we go into Windows, you'll see it's just imported all my Steam games. And the cool thing about it is I don't have to have Steam open to launch these games. So it's just going to launch all these games from one interface. So it's kind of this really nice hub of all your launches of both classic ROMs like you've just seen with the PlayStation, plus all your paid Steam games, Activision, all that good stuff. And you can see when I scroll through it, it just updates the artwork, looks real cool. And you basically just select the game and hit play. Now there is a full system menu, and if you are using the paid version, you can manage themes, startup themes, pause themes, all that good stuff. You can basically look through here. You can create playlists, you can load your own music into play on startup. Heaps and heaps of stuff you can do in this menu. You can put it to sleep, which is pretty cool. So same as you would with the PlayStation and Xbox, just put the console to sleep. Reboot, shut down, all from this menu. So it's pretty cool because on a Windows PC we could also set Big Box to run on startup. So if we got rid of the login screen and had Big Box run on startup, you know, you just walk up to the computer, power it on, you know, underneath your TV or wherever it's sitting, power it on. It's going to boot into Windows, and then it's going to automatically launch Big Box, and then you can shut it down from this menu too, which is pretty cool. So you can also favorite a game if you like, which is pretty cool. So if you come down to the menu here, we could go favorite, and we've just favorited Crash Bandicoot. So then when you're in the main screen, you'll see a list of favorites. Pretty handy if you have a lot of games that you want to play, or, you know, a lot of games in Steam, or maybe a lot of ROMs, and you only sort of focus on playing half a dozen of them, you can favorite those and see them up the top of your screen, which is pretty handy. So how much is it, and is it worth paying for? I've just jumped on the Launchbox website, and you can see here that to buy a license is $30 for a regular license. Now what this says is that you own it forever, but you get updates for a year. So if I bought it today, a year from now, I would stop getting updates to the system, which may not be the end of the world, but also it looks like they bring out a bunch of cool features. So maybe the lifetime is their better license. So that's $75. Own it forever, update forever. So both the regular and the lifetime are going to give you big box. One just obviously gives you updates for a year and then it stops, and the other one gives you updates forever. Now, for those of you that love Android and hate Windows, there is a version for you, a license, and it's actually half the price. So I know, we get it, Android's better. But yeah, you can basically download this for if you had a PC that you were running, just Android on, maybe a lower spec one, or the handhelds you can get that have an Android operating system. You could run big box on those. So you can get both licenses for either Windows or Android. So I think big box is pretty perfect and well worth that $30 if you are looking for a widescreen setup like this on a TV, like you want a Windows box in your living room somewhere hidden under the couch, playing all your games. If you do a bit of like cross-platform stuff as well, like if you want your Windows Steam games in there and your more modern games you play on controller, as well as, like old PlayStation classics, then it's pretty cool for that. This also works really well in my arcade cabinet. It works with the joysticks and the buttons I've got and the USB encoders. Works with the controller as well. So I've got kind of like a hybrid setup in my widescreen arcade cabinet, which is pretty cool. So I'm interested what you think. Do you think it's worth the $30? In an era we live in where there's lots of free software, sometimes it is fine to pay for a piece of software, especially if it's just sleek. It does exactly what you want it to do. It's easy to install. There's updates for it. Maybe that $70 option. Maybe it's a bit of a no-brainer, right? It's the price of a cheap new game, $70, and you got the software for life. So well worth it. Now, if you'd like to come along on my adventure, maybe subscribe to the channel. I'm busy building up my own arcade in my shed. We're going to cover lots of retro gaming, as well as this sort of thing, software, arcade cabinets, rebuilds. I bought a claw machine a while ago. Just fun stuff like that. And I'm eventually going to build my own arcade in my shed in my property here. So hence the underground arcade, right? A backyard arcade. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment if you're stuck, if you've got an opinion on big box, if you think there's a better piece of software out there, let me know down in the comments below and we'll have a discussion there. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.